Did you see Justin Thomas's thing in the Netflix show?
Which one?
You know what I'm talking about. He's giving a cheers at the PGA Champions dinner, and he says cheers to Mito Pereira.
I knew you were coming up with this.
Well, you know, this is what it is.
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. This show will come out. It is April 4th, 2024. We got the entire squad back. Myself, Frankie, Trent, and Dan. A lot going on in the foreplay world, which I'm sure we're going to get to. Probably a lot more foreplay stuff and world stuff than we're going to get into a lot of golf. But at the end, we've got Mito Pereira. Mito Pereira nearly won the PGA Championship a couple years ago. He had one of the all-time moments on the 72nd hole that I think everybody on earth could relate to. He's a LIV guy now. Dan's down at LIV. You had the Joaquin Niemann thing yesterday. I laughed out loud at the post. I didn't really know how to interact with it when LIV Golf just put out side gig but louder. I legitimately laughed out loud. I wasn't, I kind of at first had the tongue-in-cheek thing, and then I just didn't even respond to it. I was like, I'm just going to leave that there and whatever. So a lot going on right now, which we're going to get into a ton, but I want to start with Dan because Mito Pereira's on the show. You had a Joaquin Niemann thing. You legitimately look, I said before, like you're trying not to get captured at LIV Golf right now.
I am, I think I'm on the floor of the Ivanka Trump ballroom right now, which is serving double duty as media dining this week. At Trump Durrell, caddy for Neiman yesterday, did a little side gig, did a Mito Pereira pod interview, talked to him about that shot, talked to him about Justin Thomas's dig at him in the Netflix show, which he did not appreciate. It's been an interesting week. It's my first time at a LIV event in a little while. I haven't been since last year. I went to one for like a day. It's definitely grown. There's definitely a lot of, I keep on finding myself looking around being like, I forgot that guy's here. Like I just saw Bryson. I was like, damn, they got Bryson DeChambeau and they have Brooks Koepka. So it's hot. The golf course is good, and they're being very helpful with us about getting guys and doing stuff. I'm about to go set up on the range and do some more interviews. So there's basically a free for all.
I kind of forgot, I forgot how wild that and unnecessary that dig from JT was. Like Mito wasn't there to like kind of laugh it off. He was just kind of like, what was he, starting the champions dinner and just buried him? It was like, I want to thank Mito Pereira. Without him, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. So Mito, you guys will hear it, but I thought he was just going to kind of be like, oh, it was all in good fun. He was like, no, like it was like, you guys will see, but I think he said like, I didn't love it or something like that, which is like the meanest way. He wasn't going to say like, fuck that guy, but he basically said, fuck that guy.
Yeah. No, I know we had said earlier in the year that like, I personally would like to get to a LIV event at some point this year just to see it. And it is, it's something that like we've gone back and forth on a ton. I know myself and Trent, I feel like, especially early on, very anti-LIV, where the money comes from the entire thing. But I do feel like at the point where what was the date? June 4th?
June 6th.
June 6th. I always don't want to say June 6th because it's January 6th. And I think there's no way that it's 2 months to start with J and it's both the 6th, but it's the 6th. Ever since June 6th, I feel like the gloves are kind of off. And it's just like, dude, if the fucking PGA Tour and Tiger Woods is flying around and playing golf with Yasser, we could have guy at a LIV event doing and getting kind of funny tweets from LIV Golf that say side gig but louder. So I would like.
Well, that guy went rogue. Guy went rogue. That was going to be my caption. So he was asking the whole day. He's like, hey, can we collab with
your
Foreplay?
Material?
He was like, can we collab with Foreplay? I was like, I don't know if like that's a good idea, like for Foreplay to collab with like LIV Golf League, but like we could do it for my personal. I was like, he's like, oh, what are you thinking for a caption? Just idea. So I just said side gig but louder. And then I was like caddying for Joaquin, and I look at my phone and Riggs has texted me and I'm like, what the fuck? This guy posted this thing. It was supposed to be a co-post, but I guess he only recommended Foreplay and Foreplay didn't do it. So then, that guy kind of went rogue.
I shut that down. Rob White, he texted me. He was like, they want to collab with LIV Golf on the post on Instagram. I was like, we're not collab. I don't think it's a good idea for us to collab. Like, I get we're doing a little thing, but if we're collabing, that was a little too much for me at this point.
Yeah, but also, like, if anyone is asking, like, wondering in the questions, because I saw a lot of comments, like, LIV didn't pay me to come here. Like Barstool is paying me. There's no money being transferred. Like, basically, I've got a show that and Joaquin Niemann is someone that I've wanted to have on it, and they said we could do it here. So it's really not more complicated than that.
Bang. It's that simple. I feel like I'm very curious what a LIV event is like from because obviously they've got the players. Obviously in the media world, they do have the juice. They make the headlines. We talk about it all the fucking time in the show. We debate it. From a rating standpoint, they don't have the juice. And so I would wonder from a live event standpoint, Because when you go to a tour event, it is fun. It's just really fun to be at a professional golf event. It really is. You're walking around, everybody's in a good mood. It's almost like you're at the fucking airport. On like Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you got like C-suite execs drinking in the hospitality while you've got some of the best players in the world walking by hitting shots. It's very, very fun to be in an event. And so I've just been curious if there's some juice for that element of the LIV golf events. I've never been to one.
Well, it's tough because there's no fans allowed yesterday, today, or tomorrow. So I'm leaving tonight. So I really won't. They've been like, you got to stay for Friday. You got to stay for Friday. I'm like, I'm trying to stay married. I can't. So I won't be going to the actual tournament. But I think you should go.
That's
I really
fair.
do. I think it's educational for you guys.
I'm gonna get to one. I'm gonna get to a LIV event. I though will probably be different. We may try to get paid to go to LIV events.
Yeah.
So it's like we got our journalist who does not. We would like to get paid to go to an event. Did you know that you can get tickets here in Austin to Shane Gillis, which is April 12th at the HEB Center? $65. Shane Gillis is unbelievable. $65 on Game Time. I'm looking here too if you're in Austin, Texas, because that's where I'm at right now. On May 1st, Neil Young, iconic Neil Young, $78. You could get a Neil Young ticket. I know. Game Time's the best. That's right. They're the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Baseball is obviously back. A little bit of baseball talk on this show with the Mets. Tough start. Shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next game. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets to all the sports, the music, the comedy, and the theater events near you. We love going to events. It's the best thing in the world.
The best, the absolute best. You get a soda pop, you get some popcorn, doing a lot of popping at these events, and it's just a great time. You look forward to. You need things to look forward to in life, and you get a ticket to an event. It's coming up on the weekend. You get through the work week, and you're like, let's just get going now. Let's plan our route to there. Are we carpooling? Are we taking mass transit? Are we having a couple drinks? There's nothing better than planning out that night. What are you going to do? You're going to sit around and watch TV? Go see something. Go see talent. There's a lot of talented people in this world. Go see some talent.
There really are. They got flash deals over at Game Time, too, for sudden discounts, zone deals, whenever you're feeling flexible. And their lowest price guarantee means if you find the same seats for less anywhere else, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I want to give a shout-out to Dr. Bhrett McCabe. Dr. Bhrett McCabe, at Monday's event, he was awesome. He hooked us up with Greystone. Greystone is sick. There are a bunch of guys that are members out there, and they were like, are you going to, is this one of your better courses? Do you get to play a lot of courses that are on this level? We do got some sweet courses on the schedule. Shout out to Lisa and Mancini and T. Ray and our whole team. But this place, really, really good, about as good as it gets. Greystone, sick clubhouse. You're like, it's Birmingham, Alabama. You're in the South. It's got a great membership, 2 courses. They have a Champions Tour event that's coming in a few weeks. It was amazing that we were able to even get this spot. The guy, John Gibbons, I believe was his name, who's the head pro there, big friend of Todd Martin. Anybody who's a friend of Todd Martin, like Todd Martin went out of his way to be like, make sure you say hi to those guys for me. That's always a great sign. Anybody who's on Todd Martin's team is on our team. So they were phenomenal. And then afterwards, there were maybe a third of the field kind of stuck around. We had dinner after, and then, we were doing this fireside chat with Dr. Bhrett McCabe, and there was a little bit of a concern. They're like, oh, people are not into it, or people kind of left. What are we going to do? We're both kind of feeling a little weird about it. And then he got up, and I propped him on a couple questions. He started talking. He talked about Frankie. He talked about some of the pros he worked with. That guy could just control a room and a conversation and a talk, and he is absolutely fascinating. And we ended up doing like a Q&A at the end. He's got an answer for everything. Like, people were asking questions about their own job. They're asking questions about how they translate from what they do as for a living to what they mess up on the golf course. And he immediately had a metaphor. He would ask them questions about themselves and then turn it into something that like really drove the point home. So that guy's insanely impressive. And I've been at dinner with him. Me and Trent last year in New Orleans, we went to dinner with him, and he kind of could command the table at dinner, which is totally different. Seeing him in his element, like legitimately talking, every word he says is very valuable. that guy is really impressive. So I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Dr. Bhrett McCabe. He's amazing.
It's amazing how much you can learn from him just by having a conversation. Like, you'd think that you can't improve your golf game by speaking to someone, but then you hear him talk and it's like, wow, he's actually saying some things that I think I can take with me tomorrow to the golf course and figure something out. Like, didn't you feel better about your game after his talk?
Dude, everybody, as he was speaking, you could see everyone looking internally, being like, I just got a couple shots better hearing him say that. And his ability to like look right like at me, because we were laughing a little bit and we were going back and forth, and I would try to make little self-deprecating chirps about my own game, and he right away was like, with your driving, it's exactly this, and it's you say it in your head and then you do it. And I was like, yep. And he's like, I watched the whole Sam video, and before it's even your turn to tee off, you're like, there's just no way I can hit a good tee shot right now. He's like, of course you don't. He's like, it reminds me so much of Frankie. And he told everybody in front of the whole crew, he's like, me and Frankie had booked like 2 days or whatever to film and shoot and work together. And he was like, less than an hour into the whole thing, Frankie was fixed. He's like, it was just a process thing. And he's like, we didn't even know what to do the rest of the time that we had booked, because less than an hour in, Frankie had learned that he hadn't had a process. He got a process. He went from telling himself that he's the worst chipper in the world, he's going to embarrass himself, to, holy shit, I have amazing hands, I'm a good athlete, here's exactly what I'm going to do, here's where I'm going to land it. And then he just did it. And he's like, and ever since then, he's just been really good at it.
We chipped in on the first hole of the video, and then we looked at each other, we're like, should we just book the flight home? I mean, it's like crazy. They just like flopped one into the hole. So I think that's like doing the thing. Yeah, he's amazing.
He's incredible. So just a big shout out to him and the whole event, him giving the time. And then, hell, he's just like at the Masters next week. He's got a bunch of the top level elite golfers that he works with. So yeah, he's awesome.
Did you see the
Big
article he wrote?
Bhrett McCabe.
He wrote the cover story for your favorite magazine.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Nick Dunlap is on the cover, and it's like a thing by Dr. Bhrett McCabe. So he's kind of a double agent.
I have to.
We got a couple of those floating around.
That's okay. We'll allow that. There's a lot of double agency that goes on in this world, I feel like. So we're just going to kind of have to deal with it. The Iowa game, I got to hear from Trent.
Yeah. What a dude.
Wow. Just awesome. I saw the ratings were the highest rated college basketball game on any ESPN platform ever. It was the highest rated women's college basketball game by like 3 million views. Trent was there with Dave. That had to be just awesome.
Dude, it was awesome. It was awesome because not only was it, there was so much hype leading up to it. Obviously, if you are on the internet or even just anywhere in the world, you knew how much hype was going into that game. And then it lived up to the hype. Like, it was a great game. It was 45-45 at halftime. Like, I've been to sporting events throughout my life, whatever, Iowa football games, NBA games, whatever, but I've never been to one that had so much hype and then just delivered. Like, Caitlin Clark is a superstar. Everybody knew that going in, but then to go 41, 12, and 7 and to, exact revenge on that LSU team that they lost to in the national championship game in such a way. And it was, I was in Albany with Dave, and it was 99% Iowa fans. Like, it was so awesome to be there. Like, just black and gold as far as the eye can see. I was lucky enough to get the invite, shot up there on a train, and then we were just in it. And you're just watching the game, and you're like, please, Iowa, please win. Because that's just, I'm wearing the Iowa hoodie. Dave's wearing the Caitlin Clark jersey. Like, if they win, everybody's happy. And they did. And they actually ended up winning by, I think, 7 points. They were dominating for a while. It was back and forth. It was just a really, really great game to be at. And like you said, Riggs, the highest rated women's basketball game of all time.
Unreal.
If you just look up the stats, like, it blew every other sporting event out of the water. It had more than like the NBA finals, the NHL, like all these big events that you would think. And then this clash of the Titans with Iowa LSU was just, being there was insane. It was honestly insane.
It reminded me of Messi in the Argentina World Cup final. It was like the first time I've had that feeling in a year and a half or 2 years where I have no dog in the fight, yet it felt like the whole world was rooting for history. Like, the entire world kind of understood that, like, Caitlin Clark, this run, the revenge, everyone's talking about this. This is her last shot. Like, this is it. And you were just rooting so hard for the history of the whole thing. And you felt like, I felt nervous. And we were talking about it. We were doing the thing where we were talking about it shot by shot live while we were recording the podcast Monday night.
Yeah.
And I bet that drove people crazy because the game was already over. But it's like, when LSU went on that 10-0 run at the end of like the first quarter, like my heart sank, being like, oh no, it can't end like this. And then obviously she went on to have an iconic game, 41, the whole deal. But it was something. I mean, I did invest in the game. Shout out to DraftKings partner, #DK partner, and
so did I.
Bet on Iowa, awesome. Which was awesome. But even without that, it was very nerve-wracking just rooting for history, basically.
Yeah, after that first quarter run at the end, like the beginning of the first quarter, Dave and I were like, oh, they're going to just blow them out. Like, this is going to be easy street. We're going to be having a good time. And then they did go on that 10-0 run, and Dave turned to me and he was like, this is a war. It's going to be a war. And when it was 45-45 at halftime, it was a war. And it was a war the whole time until like the last couple minutes of the fourth. Even as a sports fan, just a cool thing to be at. It was so fucking awesome.
It's amazing when you go to see the person and the person does the thing.
Yes.
It's not that common, really. Those are like the best moments in sports, and you get to be there for that. That's amazing. I mean, I haven't watched too many Iowa games, but the fact that one comes down to if Caitlin Clark doesn't score 41 points, they probably lose the game. I know they won by a decent amount, but like, she puts the team on her back.
Yeah.
And if she just has an off game and scores 12 points and goes like 20% from the 3-point line, they just don't win games. And that's so much pressure on who now is one of the best college athletes ever at this point. I mean, her stats are insane. She's the best women's college basketball player of all time. It's amazing. It's amazing to see her in her element, go try and win a national championship and win that kind of game in person. That's got to be the coolest thing ever.
And you are right. Like, the rest of the team is pretty good, but they do go as she goes. Like, if she scores, like you're saying, 10 points, that's 30 points that they don't have, and they lose by 1 million. Like, they really are. She's got great teammates, but if she doesn't score 40, they probably lose that game. So
also, her assists were insane. Like the court long bombs that she was.
I didn't realize she leads the nation in assists. It's unbelievable.
That's the thing people don't understand. And there have been
Trotty was all over that.
He was all over that. There was a funny thing about that Trotty 46 assist game that I think was the game before, or was it last night's game? I can't remember.
No, I think it was the game before. The game before,
but he was at a certain point. She was on pace for like 28 assists. She had 8 assists through the first quarter, and I was like, "Is this going to happen for Trotty? Like, is he going to win this one?" But that's the thing. If you watch her, and most of the country, there's a lot of people who don't watch it. They just talk about it, which I totally understand. But they do think she's a shoot only. Oh my gosh, she's just going to fire from the half court line, and that's all she does. She's actually like a pass first player, and she has great vision, like Frankie's talking about. She'll just go full court, and it'll go through 3 players, and then her teammate Kate Martin is sitting under the hoop. Like, she has incredible vision and incredible skills outside of being able to drain it from the logo.
She like just cracks me up. Like, you see her, and she doesn't look like the best superstar of all time. She looks like a regular girl that just like, I don't know, it's just like, you see her on all these like posters and these commercials. You're like, how does she do it? And you see all these videos of her growing up, and she's just like this little girl, like riding a bicycle without any training wheels. And you're like, that's going to be the best college basketball player of all time. That's insane to me.
Crazy. She's a little like Wayne Gretzky-esque in that. Like, Gretzky doesn't look that he's not a great skater. He doesn't look like he's that much better. And he is very similar in that, like, he was so dangerous that everybody would flock to him, and he had the best vision and would just dish it off and has more assists than anybody else has points in the history of the NHL. Like, she kind of reminds me of that, but watching her play and like being that into it, a couple of those threes that she chucks up are so Steph Curry-esque, and they're so sick. And nowadays with the cameras that they have, dude, when they get that view, like going right with her the whole way, and they do the slow-mo as she like chucks it over the and it just falls right with the cameras falling. It's so fucking sick. It's so sick. The Greens at Augusta will soon host golf's greatest players, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. The app is awesome. We talked about that in the last show. It's just so smooth, easy. I love the colors. It's great. Is giving new customers a swing at turning $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any golf bet. And I've got big news that I believe next week we are going to have the return of the For the Cut bet, which we did last year for a while. That is, of course, where each person on this show picks one person to make the cut. We parlay all those odds from all 4 of those players. If they all make the cut, we win. Last year, we started off like 3 of the first 4 weeks. We had like a plus 900 something, a plus 800 something. So For the Cut on the DraftKings Sportsbook only. We'll be back next week as well.
That's a phenomenal bet. I love that. Super excited to get that going. That's going to be ready for the Masters.
I believe the Masters tournament that
Wow.
week is when we're bringing it back, and then we're going to do it every week after that.
Woo! Yeah, so get ready for that. That's exciting. You get to see who's hot, who's not, and we parlay it all, and it's great. I love that, man. That's so much fun. That hole-in-one bet is so good.
Yeah, the hole-in-one's great. We've been 2 weeks ago. We had the hole-in-one bet. It didn't hit, and then last week, I believe Malnati with the yellow ball got a hole-in-one. So we were reversed the last couple of weeks. We're going to straighten that out. But DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Make sure you use the code FORE, F-O-R-E. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code FORE. DraftKings Sportsbook, code F-O-R-E. The crown is yours.
I also want to say one last thing about the game. Dave Portnoy is incredibly famous. Like, I know that we know that, but that guy is famous, okay? Like, when he goes to games now, I feel like he's usually courtside or there's not as much access to him. We had really good seats, but we were definitely more in the mix than he probably is. No joke, probably took 10,000 pictures. Like, we're in one of the sections, sort of in the middle part section, in the middle of that section. During the end of the quarter, before the game, and at halftime, you could feel the lines coming down the stairs, and it's really unlike anything I've seen. Like, we've been to events with him before, but for whatever reason, where he is right now in his life, on the internet and in the world, he's like famous.
He's like a Mark Cuban, or like maybe not Elon Musk, but he's like one of those guys,
dude. And also, Sudeikis was at the game, right? Jason Sudeikis. He's a big Iowa women's basketball fan. I couldn't see where he was sitting, but I guarantee he didn't take 1/20th of the pictures that Dave took. It's just like a different type of fame, right?
Yeah,
like Sudeikis is actor TV famous. Dave is like approachable, cool, nice. Like, and I'm not saying Sudeikis isn't, but it's just different. You can come up to Dave and he'll be like, "Yeah, I'll take a picture." He took every picture. Everybody who asked, he took one.
He's like the most famous, approachable, like one of the guy in the world. Like on
and you
Earth.
could feel it once people started to realize that he was there. You could pick out like it basically went around the stadium, and you could feel people looking like, "Holy shit, that's the guy. That's Miss Peach's dad." Like that was, he got a lot of that. He got a ton of that. He got a ton of Miss Peaches, a ton of pizza. I just had to note that because it was, again, we know him and have been in with him, and Frankie's probably been to more events with him than anybody. So he's probably seen him take a million pictures. For me, he just was so accessible, like where the seats we were at, that people were like, "I'm going to go up to him," and they did. And I'm not kidding. 10,000 people.
Dude, John Tavares' first game back at Nassau Coliseum, we made a big stink about it. We like sold shirts that they said looked like a king cobra. It was a huge miss by me. I made the shirt look too cool. But this was back in the old office, and Dave came with me. My dad came. We had like 8 tickets. And I remember at the Coliseum, which didn't have the infrastructure to handle a famous person coming. This was like 5 years ago, I think. They had to legit have security at the top of our section on both sides, because during the game, there would be at least 2 or 3 people on each step going all the way up from our steps, all the way up to the hallway. And people were just waiting, and they take the photo, and they were coming into the section. So they were actually asking people to, excuse me.
Dude.
So now the people sitting next to us are like, we paid, and this was the highest ticketed game in like Islanders history at that point. It was like $600 to get into the building. It was Tavares' first game back. The Islanders were a good team. And people are like, are you fucking like, because maybe to them, maybe Dave wasn't even that famous at that point as he is now. The people to the right and left are like, what the fuck is going on? Who is this?
Dude, the only people in the arena who didn't know who he was were the older couples like sitting around us.
Exactly.
And they were like, what is happening? They're like, who is this? Is this the president? Like, I don't know who this is. And we were, he was just like, he would just be like, I eat pizza. And I was just like, dude. And people they were exactly what you're saying, Frankie, where they come in from the sides and they would exit the wrong way. So people running into each other, like trying to get out. Mob scene. And it, again, to his credit, and he's always done this, took every picture. And was just like, all right. It was awesome. I had to note it because it was so crazy seeing it.
Yeah, he is. It
awesome.
It's wild to think that our direct boss is just super, super famous.
One of the most, I would say he's arguably one of the most famous people in the country, regardless of following or whatever on Twitter and Instagram. Just face and name and like what he does has to be one of the most famous.
And you
people
see
in
the different age groups as they come up to you. You see BFF fans, Miss Peaches fans, pizza fans, old school 20-year-old Barstool fans, like Barstool Fund, like all that. You just see the different layers of it in person. It comes up to him. He's got, everybody knows who he is.
There's also like
really
the Fox News angle because he's on Fox News a lot too. So
He's
like
got
older
everything.
people know who he is. Yeah,
Dude, the COVID thing when he raised $45 million for COVID relief,
Crazy.
like he was crazy famous for that.
had a couple people
Pizza.
come up to him at the game being like, thank you. You saved my local this, my local that. Again, game was awesome.
Insane.
I just had to say it because it was crazy.
I remember 6 years ago when we went to the U.S. Open at Shinnecock and we did live radio like Thursday, Friday, and then we still had this awesome house all day Saturday. I remember a bunch of us had credentials and we were going to go to the U.S. Open Saturday and just enjoy it. And like, dude, we're getting to have a beer and just kind of watch the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. It's going to be sweet. And I remember it was like big cabs, everybody. I remember like Dave just kind of hanging back. And I remember like he didn't even really say it explicitly, but I remember just kind of realizing like he can't go to something like that. And that was 6 years ago. And it's because he refuses to say no. So he's like, the second that I walk in, you get swarmed. You can't walk 10 feet over the course of an hour. And it's like, that's just kind of a bummer. And that was 6 years ago. That was before all the shit that we're talking about.
Oh, I mean, I didn't even talk about we parked our car. I didn't have that long of a walk to get to the stadium. Took 45 minutes. Like, does a pizza review outside. There's once people realize what's happening, the phones come out and it's just it's mayhem. So it was cool to see. It was very cool to see. The game was great. Shout out to Dave for the inviting me to come to the game. It was awesome. It was just a great day.
God, he handles that stuff incredibly well. Incredibly well. A couple of little administrative things. Stream song video, the reverse Mulligans video is coming out Thursday today. Bushman, you know exactly what time that bad boy's coming out?
They're still working on it. I think they wanted to do 10, but I'm not sure the status
I talked to
on
Kyle
that right
Timms
now.
yesterday, and I heard like 10 a.m. or more realistically noon because they are grinding to get this video done. I mean, we're back in the thick of it. We talked about it last week where like we film it and then we put it out. So, and it's a long video. It's a long video. Reverse Mulligans goes on forever. It'll be well over an hour. So we're back. Like this is true foreplay. The gang really getting into it. We're back. Like we're back in a big way on the YouTube and Rumble channels. And yeah, we're back.
We're back. That stream song video is coming out today. So again, they're targeting 10 a.m. Eastern, but it might have to be noon because it's such a hell of an edit. But that's a week later. This video's we've teased it a couple times now just because it was such a wild and fun video. I think we genuinely had about as much fun as you could have, like working air quotes, filming this video, just like we did in the Dominican. So awesome format. Trotty's great, and it was a hell of a match. And then the spring line came out yesterday. People were loving the hat. People were loving the crew neck. All kinds of good stuff in there. So obviously it's spring. We try to do these drops. We're trying to space them out properly so that our whole channel isn't us just promoting merchandise all the time. We had the Phoenix Open drop. We had the Players Championship drop. This is kind of our spring drop. So this for the next couple months, this will kind of be what we've got, what we're putting out there. Spring colors. We're trying to do something different with this kind of retro diamond hat that I got on.
Great.
It's an awesome hat. People are loving it. The sales kind of back that up. So store.barstoolsports.com. Merchandise is an enormous part of our business. So we appreciate the hell out of people supporting it. Saw a bunch of people rocking it at the Barstool Classic and all the events throughout the year. So we very much appreciate it when you rock the gear. It's great for us. They got some at PGA Tour Superstore as well. So shout out to our merch team. The spring line's out. Store.barstoolsports.com. Go check that out. Summer is all about the freedom to have fun. You do not need to blow your budget on a trip to make the most of it. We're not talking about a vacation. We're talking about a tequila-cation because the new Truly tequila sodas are out. We're 3 events in now, I believe, and we're watching people just have the best time ever drinking these Truly tequila sodas. I watched a guy the other day. We were going from the putting green putting contest down to the fireside chat. So we're still in transit of moving the tequila sodas from Truly from one spot to the next. He was scouring the back patio looking for tequila soda. I said, "What are you doing? Are you on a scavenger hunt? Is it still Easter in your world?" And he said, "No, I'm looking for one of those Truly tequila sodas. Where are those things?" People are loving them. They're delicious. They got a bunch of great flavors from lime, pineapple, guava, grapefruit, watermelon. Tequila's just in right now.
It's amazing. It's where Truly has gone is exactly where we wanted it to go. We've drank a lot of these things from the beginning, from right when the first Barstool Classic kicked off, and now it's such a great drink to have on the golf course. That tequila is so good. I mean, you could tell. It's actually been such a great addition to the Barstool Classic. Each year we have a new thing that we get to introduce to people, and this year the tequilas have been phenomenal.
All with 5% ABV, by the way, and just 100 calories. So you could take a tequila-cation with new Truly Tequila Soda today. Truly Tequila Soda, keep it light. Hard Seltzer Beverage Company, Boston, Massachusetts. Please drink responsibly. I have to note that Frankie did miss the Birmingham Barstool Classic stop. Weren't on the podcast on Tuesday. You've had a hell of a couple days. It involves one of the most beloved characters in Barstool history lore, so I know that you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll probably cry during this, but yeah, my dad had a tough week. I'm already getting into
It's all right.
It's very understandable, man.
I probably won't be able to do this.
He's good. He's good though.
Yeah,
He's good.
Let's start there.
It's gone well.
yeah. I got the call last week that he needed open heart surgery.
Jesus.
Yeah. And yesterday was a day, and it was just a tough day, and he got through it. He's just the best, man, and I just wasn't ready for that to happen, and it just happened so fast, and he went in for stents, and it just like didn't work out, and then all of a sudden we're at Stream Song, and I get a fucking call that like it's not going good, and he needs like way more than stents, and he needs to go get a bypass, and we're like, holy shit, Dad, like this is serious, like you're getting opened up. And yesterday was the day I drop him off, like you're dropping him off at school, and you like don't know if you're supposed to say goodbye. And if you know me, you know how close I am with my dad and my mom, and it's just it was a tough day, and just waiting around the hospital, it was just it was a tough one. And I'm just more like, I was just so upset about him like going through the pain and just like the anxiety of like, he's just like me. We're twins. We're 40 years apart, but we're 30 years apart, but we're twins. Like his brain works the same way as mine, as unfortunate as that is. And I knew how he was feeling, like driving him there. He's like, I know he's thinking like, when I close my eyes, I might not open them up. Like I knew his anxiety was there. Like, and he's trying to be strong. And he's like, I'm watching him in the front seat of my car, and he's like holding his hands, and his legs are shaking. And I'm just like, holy shit, Dad. So I dropped him off. I went to the mall and just like walked around, because I couldn't be there. Like I couldn't be there during the waiting room. Like I was like, no chance, like while he was still in there. And of course, like I bump into like Josh Bailey, one of my favorite New York Islanders of all time, at the mall. And he sees me. I was crying at Asarku, Japan, in the middle of the food court. Like, I'm like, get yourself together, brother. And like Bales is like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, it's my dad. And he's like a huge fan of my dad. He's text, like the whole Islanders didn't know. And like their text, it's like, it was just a lot. I didn't really want to tell a lot of people because I was so nervous about it, and I felt like I was going to bring bad juju into the world. But honestly, the guys that stream song, like Riggs, Trent, Danny, you didn't know because I didn't really tell anybody. And like Francis, like was so compassionate, and you guys like really cared about it. I felt like such a loser, like making it like so. I was so sappy in stream song. But listen, we got through it. It was a long surgery. It was like 6 hours. They ended up having to do more than they thought. They replaced a valve, which we got the call halfway through the surgery. Yeah. So shout out to we talked about Dr. McCabe.
Holy crap.
Dr. DeMayo, one of the best
Dr. DeMayo,
heart surgeons, one of the best heart surgeons in the country at St. Francis Hospital here on Long Island. It's one of the best heart centers in the country year after year. He's one of the best that they have there. He was so good at just like, he called us, said, listen, things aren't going the way we planned. We're going to take this valve and we're going to replace it. And then calling my mom at the end with like a very vibrant voice and being like, everything went great. Your husband's great. And getting that thumbs up from my mom was huge. And it's going to be a long road to recovery. But he got through it. He's got a whole new ticker, a whole new engine. And yeah, we're excited to have him just awake. And I saw him last night. He didn't know I was there, but just getting my eyes on him again was huge. And yeah, Islanders won. Oh, that's the other funny part about this whole entire thing.
what a
is
finish.
I've been talking about I've got this this whole storyline of Ireland. Like, if I'm going to take my dad and my mom to Ireland, if the Islanders make the playoffs, Ireland's been moved. So if the Islanders don't make the playoffs, I'm still not going to Ireland. So you can stop tweeting that at me every time the Islanders lose. Every time the Islanders lose, they go, "Have fun in Ireland." So now that's not happening. But yeah, wow. Didn't think I'd be crying on a foreplay podcast, but yeah. Just a really, really anxiety-filled, just sad day, like just all day. You know, you don't know what's going to happen, man. You're like, my dad's heart is in someone's hands,
draining.
Opened up. It's the most emotionally draining I've ever been, and I know I'm lucky enough to say that he came out of it. And a lot of people, they lose their parents early on in life and stuff, and I just wasn't ready for it, and like I didn't prepare for it. It wasn't this thing where it was like I don't know. It's just he fought. He's a fighter. He's always been a fighter. The guy works his ass off. And I knew he was going to work his ass off through this. So, I was excited to have him.
I was impressed how well you handled it last week. Getting that kind of news is insane. Obviously, I know like everybody knows how close you are with your dad, and Mr. Borrelli is as iconic. And I don't know that he's got a malicious or negative bone in his body. He just does so many compassionate things for other people. So I think it hit everybody when you told us last week. It was like, we wanted to be there for you, but also we were all like, holy shit, like Mr. Borrelli it feels like he's going to live forever. He's always going to be one of our buddies. So it was like hearing that news yesterday, man, when you text us that everything went well, was just a massive relief. I can't even imagine what yesterday was like. So I'm very happy that it went well.
Thank you. Yeah, it was big.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad it went well. I know that a lot of people at the Classic were wondering where Frankie was and the whole deal. And so yeah, I knew. There's not much else to be said. I can't imagine how tough yesterday was, but let's go, Mr. Borrelli. Let's get that. We got to get something going, get him fired up for the rehab and the rebuild and the whole deal.
That's the thing. Like he's been so tired the last year. Like the last year, he's just been so like tired and drained, and he just wasn't himself.
So has he been struggling with heart stuff for a while?
Yeah. So he's got the biggest heart that I think anyone knows, but it's his weakest organ. It's just the way that it is, and my grandfather passed away early. He had bypasses and didn't change his lifestyle. And it's just like some people develop plaque in their arteries. And like, it's not like he sits around and eats cheeseburgers all day. He's a relatively healthy person. His blood pressure is decent. His cholesterol is low. But some people just like get their valves just kind of deteriorate and they get clogged. And it's just it's his only fault, I would say, in his whole entire life. I mean, the guy is, like you said, he's the most innocent person I think I've ever met in my entire life, and he just has this really bad heart, which is very ironic. And now, so I mean, I have to deal with the same stuff. Like, it's very, very much in my family, and I have to watch what I eat, and I have to figure out what's going to happen. I don't want to be on that same table. He had stents when he was like 47, which is like 17 years from where I'm at. So it's just something that you got to deal with. And yeah, he's had it forever, but never did we think that it was going to get to this point. But good thing that they caught it all. Like, my sister works in the cardiovascular world, and she works at one of these heart centers, and she's always on top of them to go get checked and go get like these CT angiograms and make sure that you're getting like the stress test. And he hadn't gone for a while, and he was feeling down, and like his back was hurting, and he was so tired. He was coming back from the restaurant like exhausted. And she's like, "You're going tomorrow. Like, this is insane." And a lot of people don't get checked and then they die of heart attacks. Like, they just don't know any of this information. So he knew that he was clogged. And then when they opened him up, they're like, "You're not only clogged, your valve is leaking out to the sides of your heart. Like, you're not even getting any blood. And if you waited another month or so, you're done."
Jeez.
Imagine being a surgeon. Like, who goes into these fields? Like, who are they? Like, they're our heroes, I guess. Like, they're a human being superheroes that they're able to rise above humanity and be like, "I'm going to fix humanity." You know what I mean? How is that guy opening up and like suturing his heart together?
That's
is
the
he God?
That they open the people up. They don't like go through and, there's no open wound, there's no blood. No, they open these people up. And like, if Not that anyone would ever trust me to do that, but if you ask me if I had to do that in a pressure situation, like fix Mr. Borrelli's valve and heart, I got no idea, and it's just going to be a mess, and it's over for everybody. Like the fact that they can do that successfully at a very high rate is, like you're saying, that's God. That's God.
Dude, I
don't know what it is.
I can't swing a driver because my hands are like shaky and I'm like too nervous.
He was in there for like 5.5 hours. I kept saying to my mom, what's going on from right now? And then I would wait like 10 seconds to now. Like, what is he actually doing in those moments that is taking over 5 hours? Think about how long 5 hours is.
Yeah.
What's going on from minute 1 to minute 300?
Dude, and
I
it's
think they
also
probably have
not
to be
like
so
a game.
careful. They have to move so slowly, I bet.
Right. That's the thing. It's not a game of operation where when you look at the game, everything is perfectly laid out. Like, here's the lungs, here's the heart, here's this. You go in there, it's got to be a mess. It has to be a mess in there.
Oh, he needed transfusions. He was losing blood. Like, I think it's go, go, go. But it's just, there's got to be times where it's like, everyone just settled down. We're going to do this for the next hour.
I think so. Like, did you say the surgeon in the middle of it called your mom?
That was, yeah. So we got a call, and then we're in the waiting room, and you have to, like, the lady, everyone at St. Francis is so nice, but the lady, I was getting nervous by her tone. She would just like scream like Borrelli, and you're just like, oh, well, that's just like my dad's like life on the other line.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
And
fuck.
I think she does that all day long. So it's like, not like you can be compassionate, and you don't want her to be compassionate. Like, dude, we saw a couple doctors walk into the waiting room that just like had the bad look on their face. So it's just like, I didn't like being in there. I hated everything about it.
Yeah.
But we got the call like an hour in, and that's when they realized not only are they going to do the bypass, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, whatever. It's crazy, man. Like, even like a bypass is like they're taking an artery from your neck and they're moving it to your heart, and they're bypassing the wrong vessel. The vessel is not working, and you're just going to bypass it now, and the blood's going to go from there to there, and you're good. It's just like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Crazy.
I always wonder, like, who was the first person to try that? Where they're like, yeah, why don't we take this vein from the neck and put it in there? And it worked. Oh,
that's the thing
great.
too.
Like,
is there had to be? We're lucky to be on this end of it, like in terms of like decades and centuries. There were a time where it was just like, let's try this, and there had to be so many failures.
You watch Poor Things, where like guys are just like Frankensteining people, where it's just, yeah, you got to just practice. It's just it's not good. It's not good at all. But yeah, shout out to that whole team. I know the anesthesiologist. I wish that I knew his name. He's a huge foreplay fan, watches all of our videos, which I didn't love. And I was happy that I knew after, because if I knew before, it's like the guy that watches me say like fart, shit, and fuck, like, is literally in the hands of making sure my dad doesn't wake up while his heart's open. But they were so top notch, and every single person I talked to was like, your dad's in the greatest hands, and he was. And yeah, I mean, shout out to that guy. That's a great day at work for a surgeon to just have to do that, put him back together, and now we get to he saved a life, and now we just get to have our dad back. And it's like we brought him to him, and he opened him up, and his heart was stopped for 5 hours, and now he just put it back. And he's good. He got the whole stuff out of his throat last night, which was his biggest fear. My dad hated that.
Yeah.
My dad saw his dad like that and didn't want to be like all bloated with a tube in his mouth. Like it scarred him. I feel like we saw him last night. He looked amazing. Like the nurse was like, I've never seen a guy look this good after that type of surgery. He didn't have discoloration. He was just sleeping, and we're just like, there's dad. All right. I felt so much better last night. Just getting my eyes on him. I was at the end of the bed, and I just like tapped his leg, and he kind of opened his eyes for a second, went back to sleep. It's just like, you're back, bro. We're watching the Islanders tomorrow. Let's go. Like, we are back. Let's make the playoffs now, Isles. I don't want to put too much pressure on the New York Islanders.
Are we sure about the playoff? Like, let's just like
we're 1 point out. We're 1 point out.
Maybe no high stress playoff series. Maybe we just kind of let this season go, and we'll get them next year.
Yeah, we're not sure. I don't know that we need that. I don't
don't need you guys on. I'm going to be watching Mr. Borrelli on stream during a
no,
and I'm going to be like, oh my god,
and needles.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
No, if we did a stream, we'd have like a live GoPro in like his bedroom, because there's no way he wouldn't be able to go. I mean, he needs a lifestyle change in that aspect. The guy works 24/7, so we'll get him. If you guys want to. If anyone that's listening who does love Mr. Borrelli as much as we do, and just if you want to send him a get well card to Borrelli's, that's something he'd love to like read through all like the cards and the messages and stuff. I know that he's the biggest. I mean, he thinks he's the biggest star at Barstool. So I think he would absolutely love to have all that. So send him to Borrelli's, whatever you want to do. Maybe you send him a get well card or something funny. He'll read them all. We'll bring him to him. So yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me talk about it. I didn't think it'd get to that point, but
no,
I talk about him enough, so I had to alert people. You know what I mean? Like I almost wanted to tweet it, but it's like I'm not fucking doing that. Like, it's fucking weird, and I thought it was gonna bring bad juju. And I don't know. He's been almost every non-Islander, every non-golf content I do, it's like it's content with my dad. So it's like I feel like he's been such a part of my last 8-9 years here at Barstool that you have to let people know. So
for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm glad he's on the other side of it. And let's get the return, baby. The return of Mr. Borrelli. Send him a little get well soon. All right. We got to do a little closest to the pin. So I think Dan Rappaport came this week.
Yes, sir. I am prepared.
Closest to the pin is brought to you by Fireball Whiskey. We love Fireball Whiskey. A little cinnamon flavor. Get in there, up the ante on the golf course. Those 50 milliliter shooters are perfect for the golf course. You just rip that cap off. You snap them back. You keep rolling, and everybody's going to be in a better mood. You don't have to worry about chasers, glassware, anything else whatsoever. You just get those 50 milliliter shooters from Fireball Whiskey, toss them in there, bang, you're good to go. They got the Birdie Shot Club now, too, which I think has 10 of those things in it. You can put that in your bag, and you've got yourself a bunch of Fireball Whiskey. Closest to the pin, Dan Rappaport. First we got to hear from Alex
last
Bush
week
on last week's.
Yeah, so
updated
I was sick last week, so I got 2 weeks of updates for you.
Wow.
Okay. We didn't do updates last week.
Alex Bush, I have a question. Did you see the tweets of people saying that I didn't say 27 and that I swindled you into thinking that it was 27? Did you see
because what people were DMing me too. What happened was I put the wrong thing on the graphic too, and it's because I just read it wrong from the text. But
someone tweeted at us the audio? Did you ever listen back to the audio and make sure I said it?
because I read it off, so I read it off wrong. So the whole thing was on me because I read it off wrong. So then everyone thinks that that's correct when I just read the number wrong.
Because the audio was never said by Frankie. It's just said by you. I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, you said 37 when you read my text.
Yep. So I said it wrong. So the whole
that's
it was a mess from when I just read.
I'm vindicated.
Yep.
Yeah, you're vindicated, and Bush, you have taken even more blame now because of that.
I take it. I hold it.
Fantastic.
So going back to the week before, we had Colgate versus Baylor spread. We had Riggs Baylor by 11, Frankie Colgate by 2, Trent Colgate by 1, Dan Baylor by 7. Alex Baylor by 11, and then one by 25. So Riggs and I took that one.
25.
Okay.
Yeah. Michigan State versus Mississippi total, which was the first game of the NCAA tournament, men's. Riggs won 33, Frankie won 25, Trent won 35, Dan won 27, Alex won 33. Frankie won that. It was 120 was the total. I believe the over-under was like 124 or something like that. So it was actually pretty close. So Frankie won that. Kevin Kisner's total score in rounds 1 and 2 at Valspar. He finished with 155. So Riggs and Trent tied that one.
Yeah, he had a bad start.
Wait,
man.
what was my guess? What did I
Shot
say?
like 81.
Your guess was 146. So it was Riggs. So you guys won that.
155.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
Frankie
did I say,
and I had 142. 142. Both
He didn't
of
play
you
well at the Valspar. He did not play well at the Valspar.
That much is clear.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Live but louder for sure. Is that Dan or is that Alex?
Nope, that's me. I got a someone's vacuuming outside my apartment. Hold on. Okay.
That's tough.
Sounds like a
That's
casino.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
Dan's
really
how you-
loud. Okay. Last one was my steps on vacation from Monday to Friday.
Oh yeah.
The total was 34,945.
Oh, I think I nailed
Trent and Frankie were both so close. Trent won that one. No. Trent was 2,489 off, and Frankie was 2,518 off.
Oh,
Wow.
That's close. Holy shit.
Wow. Trent, daddy.
Let's go.
Wow, good win.
And then last week, highest temp in Albuquerque, New Mexico on Friday was 72 degrees. Frankie was off by 1. Frankie said 71.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Caitlin Clark's assist in Iowa's game against Colorado. I mean, Trotty wasn't that far.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you go back
She
and watch
finished
that
with
game,
15.
I think she had 8 assists through the first quarter, and I was like, this is going to happen. She was on fire with the assists.
I was like, what's the number got to be where he wins this?
Right,
So,
what's going to tip it? Right.
She finished with 15, so Riggs and Trent both had 9. They took that one.
Okay.
Such a stud.
Putts for Jason Day on Thursday, Houston Open, 28 putts. Riggs and Trotty both 27.
Come on, what a week.
And then the final one last week, goal scored in the Premier League, 32. Riggs' 109 was a little far off.
Yeah, that was that was worse.
So
than the
Trotty
Caitlin
took his
Clark
initial
guess.
point. Or actually, no, the second point, actually. So Trotty actually took that one.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. What are the standings?
So the standings right now, we have...
Did I get 2 points for that, Jason Day? Did we guess it right on, or were we one off?
No, you were one off.
Fucker.
There was like 3 different one-offs. So Trent's in first with 20, Riggs and Dan 17, Frankie 14, Alex 6.
Ooh. 6.
All right, one more location change and we're good to go.
We should do like a guest one where the guests have a cumulative score, like Francis and Trotty, like however many points they have. Like Trotty got
just
2.
guessed. Yeah.
Great
call.
call.
Francis.
All right, could probably go back
he was
and
on.
check.
A little retroactive.
I feel like only Francis was on one of them, and I feel like
Yeah,
Trotty
I'm
was
trying
on
to
the
find
other.
when Francis was on. Oh, yeah. He didn't get a point when he was on.
All right, so guest is at 2.
Guess is at 2 points.
All right. So we've got Dan Rappaport with the new closest to the pin.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. All right. First question. Joaquin Niemann has won twice on the LIV Tour this year. He's got a 4th place finish as well. He has been the best player on LIV. I caddied for him yesterday. He is an incredible player. What will his finish be? So not scored a par, but his finish out of the 54 players or 55, whatever it is, at LIV Golf this week.
Finish.
I'm going to put mine in last year because I don't have my phone. Can I do invisible ink through my laptop?
You could just
I
put it
don't
in.
think so.
I'm going to go last so I don't.
Finishing position this week.
Finishing position.
Okay.
Just a number. 1 through 55.
Okay.
All right. Finishing position for Joaquin Niemann. Dan Rappaport, third. Don't know why I said it like that. Riggs 4. Alex 4.
Oh,
Frankie 4.
fuck.
Trent 9.
Waco
Wow.
4th place. You guys,
Damn, we got
you guys
we
are
got
all
a lot of
dialed in.
confidence in Joaquin Niemann.
He's
Wow.
I think
Very good.
he's got a chance this
What
week
a
and
great
next week.
spot for you to be in there, Trent. 9th.
Yep, that one feels good.
All right. Second one is sort of a 2-layer question. Total number of points for Caitlin Clark in the final 4. So obviously, if they lose, it's a 0 for the second game. So total points for Caitlin Clark
Wow,
in the
good one.
final 4.
They play UConn on Friday.
They play
people
UConn,
that
which
don't
I'm
know.
gonna type in 2 numbers into my calculator and I'm just see what it is.
And if you want an expert's opinion, certainly no bias. I think they're going to beat UConn. So,
UConn women's basketball still gives a little shiver down my spine. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they've got
that's-
that. They've got Paige. They've
Paige.
got,
She was the
yeah.
player of the year, right? Didn't she get it?
No, I don't think so.
I think she,
think
or
Caitlin-
maybe it was conference player of the year. I don't know. She's a hell of a player though.
She is.
All right. Dan Rappaport, 39.
I think they're going to lose.
Riggs, 71. That's crazy, Dan. Frankie, 58. Alex, 54. Trent, 72.
Part of the guessing here is like you got to zag when people zig in order to win.
They could lose. If she just has one bad game,
No.
They
Yeah, but if
lose.
they just win, then you're just out of it, Dan.
That's true.
right.
But they could win, and she could have like
But also, your
21
thought process
and
is
20.
weird because she's going to score 39 and lose.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tough.
Yeah, she's going to score 39 and they're going to take everybody else away. And yeah,
You should have.
I've,
You
I've,
should have
I've done
been like.
I've done the X's and O's breakdown.
I watched Gino's press conference. That's their plan. They were like, "How do you stop Caitlin Clark? What's the plan?" He's like, "We don't. We stop everybody else." So
Yeah, exactly.
You might be
Saw
onto
that.
something.
Saw that. Okay.
I know you saw that. Yeah.
Number 3, the Mets are off to a poor start. I think that's fair to say.
Amazing.
Prompted Frank the Tank to say, he said, "I hate to say this, it was better under Wilpon." That's what he said. So they've got a 3-game series at the Cincinnati Reds this weekend. How many total runs will they score in that series?
3 games against the Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds are
They're really
too.
bad. Like,
I
are
don't
they
know what that
supposed to be
means.
this bad? I didn't think they were going to
Frank
be
was
this
right,
bad.
dude. Frank is always right.
I mean, they're 0-4. Their lineup stinks. They got names in there that KFC was rattling off some names on their team. It made me laugh out loud, even on a bad day. Like I watched the video yesterday, and he was just like, "Oh my god, what was the one name?" He was like Joey Wendell. He's just like, ugh, like who the fuck is Joe Wendell? All right, so and the Reds I think got a couple wins. Yeah, they're 3-2. All right. How many runs will they score in 3 games?
3 games.
Yeah.
The video of him saying that it was better under Wilpon is so funny.
You see, Lurch has
Yeah,
an
put Lurch down for 6.
Lurch answered, put him in for 6.
Got no idea what's happening.
All right. Dan Rappaport 7, Riggs 8, Alex 8, Frankie 8. Jesus Christ.
Fuck you.
Trent 12 and Lurch 6.
Yeah, get him in there for 6. I love that. That's nice.
He just sees these numbers coming in. He's like, what is this?
Imagine it's 6 spot on.
It's entirely
All right.
possible. All right, last one, and then I got to go. I got to meet. I'm doing a little video thing. So, all right, Rory McIlroy, and the basis for this question is apart from Scotty and Wyndham Clark and like a little bit Xander Schauffele, all the big names are kind of playing like shit this year. Like no one
saw
really,
that Brandel. Our boy
Yeah,
Brandel had
that's the tweet.
just an all-time tweet. Great tweet.
Yeah.
He had.
Yeah, well,
sorry to cut you off, but he had all that long stuff in the tweet, and then his conclusion was, "It's either going to be really close or just a blowout." And I was like, "That's why my guy's the best in the business. Just you can't do it better than that." Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, everyone basically except for those 2 guys is playing significantly worse than they did last year. So Rory is playing this week at the Valero Texas Open. What will his final score to par be? And for some context, the winning score at this tournament is usually around 15 or 16 under.
Should I zig this time? People are zagging.
All right. We got Dan Rappaport at 9 under par, Riggs 6 under, Alex 10 under, Frankie 13 under,
Oh, yeah.
Trent 9 under.
Beautiful. That's
Beautiful.
Great. Okay,
Beautiful.
boys, I'll see you later.
Those are good questions, Dan.
Those
Go
are
get
Thank
him,
you.
Dan.
Appreciate it.
Go
See you
get him.
guys.
Go get him. All right. That's Closest to Pin, brought to you by Fireball Whiskey. Just a couple things real quick. Great barbecue in Austin last night. I know Trent's flying out here very soon.
Yeah.
We went to Terry Black's, myself and Hopper Nation, Ryan, who works for the agency that runs the Barstool Classic. Just incredible barbecue here at Terry Black. So a hot start to Austin. And then I did find somebody to host this afternoon at Austin Country Club. So I'm playing Austin Country Club this afternoon. I cannot wait.
nice.
With the bridge, that par 5 where Scotty chipped in against Kiz. And then that next hole is that drivable par 4 where they hit it over the water into that the grandstand back there and all that. So incredibly excited to play Austin Country Club this afternoon. Everybody's so nice in the South. Just going from Birmingham to Austin, everybody's just insanely nice. So it's been nice to be hanging out in the South. And then Pinehurst number 10 opens right now as we're talking. I noticed that, Tom Pashley, Bob Dedman were out there hitting the ceremonial first tee shots at number 10, which got a nice chuckle out of me. It looked like they hit good shots, and the 10th course at Pinehurst is now open. The Tom Doak course, we talked about it on the last show a little bit, but that bad boy is officially open. So there's 10
Aren't they
courses
calling
at
it like
Pinehurst now.
Pinehurst Sand Mines or something like that?
So yeah, they've got this area that's a 10-minute drive or so away from Pinehurst that Pinehurst is actually owned for a little while. That used to be called the Pit, and it's like hundreds of acres of very interesting land. Pinehurst number 10 is the first course that they built on it. Tom Doak, I believe they're planning to build a big clubhouse, cottages, and other golf courses out there. And so that whole kind of area is now called Pinehurst Sand Mines. And it's, they used to mine for sand there. They had railroad tracks going in that would take sand all over the place because it's the sand hills in North Carolina. And their logo is like this train car from the sand mines with like a big dune kind of behind it. I think they absolutely nailed it. But yeah, they're calling it the Pinehurst Sand Mines.
That was cool.
Yeah.
This is
Like a
cool
resort
logo.
within the resort they're trying to build, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So that bad boy's open. So congrats to all those boys. Obviously, we're close to Pinehurst, especially myself. So they got that new course open. So people should check that bad boy out. I saw Carolina Pines is this new account that Pashley sent me. I think these guys take Carolina Pines Golf. They got 19,000 followers on Instagram. And Pash was like, this is going to cost you a half hour. And he sent me this account. These guys do a really good combo of photos. And then they also do like basically Reel/TikTok, but high def colorization and drone footage of like courses. That's their thing. And their account is awesome. And they have a whole thing about Pinehurst number 10 that I went through and was like almost jerking myself off to last night because the account is so good and the photos are so good. So anyways, really cool. Tom Doak, the whole deal. That bad boy's out. And then this tournament this weekend, I know we talked about Rory a little bit, but we got Rory, Ludwig, Hideki, Max Homa, Spieth, Morikawa, Fitz, Fleetwood, like a bunch of big names playing this week, the week before the Masters. So you can tune in, gear up for your DraftKings Sportsbook picks for next week. You can see who's playing well, who's not. But other than that, pretty much all I got. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
I'm excited to get to Austin. I'm excited. I want to eat something tonight and tomorrow.
Great little town. We walked down 6th Street a little bit last night, me and Ryan, and we popped into a bar, grabbed a couple of drinks. There was like 4 people in there when we got in there at like 6 p.m. And then by 8:30, there was like 40 people in there in Austin kind of hanging. And it's just a nice town. It's a nice town to be in. Austin's buzzing right now. They're doing construction all over the place because this place is popping off. Everybody's moving here, the Rogan effect. But yeah, I think Tommy Smoke's coming down, right?
Yeah, I'm flying down with him. I'm holding his hand to JFK here, and like I actually have to leave in like 5 minutes, or he's going to be kicking down my door, being like, "We got to get there. We got to get there." Yeah. Speaking of the Rogan effect, I think we're going to be going to the Comedy Mothership. We got a couple of tickets headed our way, so I'm excited to go there.
Come on.
The fucking Tommy texted me like a whole Tommy thing, being like, what do I have to like fill in? Like, are you coming or I have to fill in for you in Austin, whatever? And I was like, my dad's going into Open Hearts. I tried to make him feel as big of an asshole as that, ever. Yeah. He's like, you've made this extremely awkward. I hope he's okay. Like, I completely got him.
Oh yeah.
We talk about beers a lot, like good beers, like what's a good beer. We say that a lot in the video today, a good beer in a belly. And we talk about what are the best beers after, maybe after skiing or after a round of golf.
Mowing the lawn.
I will say I added a new one last night. Having a beer after your dad successfully gets out of heart surgery was one of the more satisfying beers I've ever had in my entire life. My body was craving alcohol last night because it was just shaking and it needed to and I didn't know what to get. We got to Borrelli's, all my aunts, like my aunts there, my cousins are there. We're all everyone's so excited. All the guys at Borrelli's, like the cooks that have been there, George and Juan and Laredo. Laredo came out. He was in tears. He's like, he's like my son. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
A lot of the cooks, my dad took these guys in 19 years ago. This one cook, George, has been there, and he's, he's from one of the countries in the Caribbean, and he's like, I just come here, and like, he's like, Frankie's my daddy, like he's my papa, and they're like all just like happy that he's okay. And then we like all had a beer and like cheers to it, like that was like a good one. That one tasted.
Oh man,
I got it down in one gulp. It was a great beer. That was a good beer.
Add it to the list. Not one you want to wish upon people.
No. Don't add it to the list, but it was a good beer.
It's a great beer, man.
I don't think you'll ever top that one. That's about that's going to be up there. Well, they got some good beers
after you give birth. That would be a good beer.
It's a really good one.
Life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, enjoy that Comedy Mothership. I'm jealous about that.
Yeah,
I was really excited about
coming
out there. That's heavy hitters, one after another.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I can't wait.
That'll be great.
All right. Big show, big week next week, Masters week. We got the live show Monday night. We're going to be in Chicago for the putting mini golf with all the big hitters for that one are going to be in town in the Chicago office. So a lot of hot stuff coming next week. So stay tuned. Enjoy the weekend. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Your hair may grow fast, but after going to Sport Clips haircuts, you'll wish it grew even faster. That is because Sport Clips has the best seats in hair, and that may or may not be because they happen to be right in front of TVs playing sports all day, every day. Maybe the last 3 weeks or so, some of the best sports viewing weeks that you'll get all year long. You're going to go get a haircut. It may take you half hour, whatever it might be. You don't want to be missing the action. You don't want to be missing if you're fired up the DraftKings Sportsbook. You got some bets going on, whatever it might be.
I got teed up by Sport Clips last week. A little high and tight.
That looks sharp.
They just do it right there.
Got a little fade going on the sides and the bottom. I like that.
Yeah, just a little high and tight. Get a little bit of a fade going. Sport Clips just knows what they're doing.
We know watching sports while getting a haircut sure beats watching your reflection while getting a haircut, which is why at Sport Clips, every day is clippers and curveballs, high tops and Hail Marys, and even waves and wickets if you're into that kind of thing. At Sport Clips, you could check in with the pros in men's hair and totally check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. So yeah, come watch an endless stream of sports on TV while getting a fantastic haircut. We are Sport Clips guys. It's a nice, lovely experience. I went and got the MVP relatively recently, and they give you that nice hot towel. They wash your hair. They kind of massage the top of your head while they're doing the whole thing. So it's just an excellent, excellent experience. Sport Clips, make sure you go check them out. They're phenomenal. They're pros. It's a great experience. Sport Clips, it's a game changer.
All right, we are here with Mito Pereira. First time on the show, I believe.
First time.
We are at LIV Miami, not the club, the golf tournament. Do you guys have a thing at LIV Miami again this year? No. Last year there was, right?
Last 2 years.
Last 2 years there were.
Yeah.
Anyways, how are we doing? You've had what, 3 LIV events, 4 LIV events so far?
4 LIV events.
You played twice in Oman.
2 Asian tours.
2 Asian tour events. Yeah. What's the state of the game? Where are you right now?
Well, not the start of the year that I would have loved. I've struggled a little bit on the greens. The game wasn't really good on LIV. I played kind of good on Asian Tour, finished like 4th and 10th in both Asian Tours. But I've been pushing myself hard like this off week, so just waiting to get the good results.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little before we started filming. You were in Asia for a month.
Yeah.
That's a long time to spend pretty far away from home.
Yeah, it's
a
little different.
How does a Chilean boy like a month in Asia?
I want to say it's not ideal, but I just have to do it.
Yeah. You're playing a lot. You're playing around the world. You guys are flying everywhere. Obviously, you've been on LIV for how long now?
This is my 2nd year.
How was the first year? How are you settling in? You know, obviously the world of golf continues to spin crazily. No one really knows what's going to happen next.
No, the first
how have
year,
these last 18 months been for you?
The first year, that's been amazing. Probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
Really?
So it's been great. We're lucky to have a really good team. We're 4 friends, so we go together. Even if we don't play, we vacation together, so we're really close. We push ourselves hard, so it's really nice to be in a team like this.
Well, you guys have an interesting situation because you guys are all like genuinely close friends.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
even on the tour, back on the PGA Tour. Like
that's what I mean. Like, it's not because they put us on a team and we just.
So I can see how that would be, like a lot of fun. Those are your boys, and you all got paid to be on a team together. I can totally see, like, from your guys' perspective, and you have the Latin American thing, so you guys can like talk about, you can focus on that arena and grow it. Like, for you guys, it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. It's really nice.
What do you miss? You miss playing on tour a little bit?
Well, I miss a little bit playing like the signature events, obviously majors, of course. Yeah. But then, I don't know, just Riviera, Players. They're just great tournaments. And I think everybody would, and anybody would say like, no, I don't want to play over there. It's great, but this is a decision that I've made, and I'm really happy here. We
talked with Wako about the transition just earlier, and he was saying that it took him a little bit to deal with it. Like, you know that you're going to get negativity or whatever it is, but still, when it happens, it's still like tough to deal with on a human level.
Yeah, for sure. I think he got more shit than I did because he was the first one. He was like ranked higher. He was like, I don't know, he was younger, but I think now he's probably really happy.
Yeah, he's winning tournaments and he's still getting into the majors.
Exactly. So of course, I don't think it was easy for anybody. I still get bad comments about it, but it's like, okay, like, I don't care about you.
Yeah. Was it a tough decision for you? Because you were 20, you were probably 27 at the time.
20, yeah.
Felt like you had so it felt like you had, you were kind of ascending. You finished top 5 at the PGA. You're having a great, and you took a pretty big leap of faith. Yeah. I imagine there was a lot of thinking that went into it.
It was a lot of thinking, but when I decided, it was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I obviously put everything in the balance, and then Joaco was going too, so it was like, there's no, I would like to do it, and when I got here, I was like, yeah, it's cool.
What's different?
Well, first, we as a team were more together. Actually, we're competing together, so that's one point. Second, less people in the tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, starting from the practice rounds.
We were actually talking about this earlier today with Wako, and he was saying, I usually lift before rounds, and I said, oh yeah, except for what if it's like a 7:30 tee time? He's like, well, I don't really have those anymore. Yeah. Because you guys start at like 11 or noon or 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Then I think like everybody, like you, I would say you are more with everybody. Like I'd say every player, you like maybe I wouldn't see DJ as much as I see him now, and all of us are in the same group of like pushing this league together to a point that we want it to be the best one,
Yeah.
So it feels like a bond in between every player that wants to.
Well, you guys are all on the same team in the sense of like trying to build LIV golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, you can tell at the majors, like when LIV guys are up there, you can tell the other like LIV guys are pulling for them. There's definitely like a little bit of a. So if we let's go back to the beginning. You're from Chile, which is not historically like a super golfy country.
No.
Got you and Wako. You're actually quite a bit older than him. Despite
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. I feel like he got his tour card before you did.
He got his tour card.
Yeah, so he was kind of always he did it differently. He turned pro when he was 18.
Yeah.
He was the #1 amateur in the world. You went to Texas Tech
for 1 year. Only.
For 1 year, but you still went to college.
Yeah.
But so tell me about growing up in Chile. How'd you get started in the game, and what was junior golf in Chile like?
My dad used to play, just a weekend golfer, and I just at the beginning. My mom used to take me like, hey, just go, like 3 years old, and she would just drop me at the golf course just to get out of the house. And then I started playing good, like at 6, I had my first tournament in Chile. At 8, I started traveling to the Junior Worlds and Optimis, all those like junior tournaments here in the US.
Yeah.
But golf was small. I mean, still is small compared to here, it's nothing.
Yeah.
We had
soccer is the dominant sport.
The most popular one. But I was lucky that my dad knew a lot of golf, like knew how to like, hey, we need to go to this tournament, we need to go here. So he actually obviously took care of me like my whole career until I was a pro.
Yeah.
And then I mean, if you know, there's like I think it's like 30 golf courses in Chile, 35.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
in the whole country.
And good ones to play is like actually 7. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, kids want to play golf now. The people know more about golf, so they can watch it, But it's still a sport that is in the minority in the country.
And then tell me about the decision to go to Texas Tech. How did you decide on that, and why did you decide to leave?
So I was playing really good until I was like 15 years old, and I had a couple offers of schools.
Did you always want to go to college in the States, or were you thinking about turning pro right away?
It was like everybody was saying, "Hey, you need to do this,"
Yeah.
This is the way. Like you go to college, then you turn pro. Okay.
Yeah.
And then at 15, I quit golf for 2 years. I didn't touch a glove.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I quit golf.
Why?
I didn't want to play anymore.
How good were you?
Pretty good.
And you just said,
yeah.
What did your dad? If I'm your dad. If I'm your dad and I drove you to every tournament and I said we're going to play Junior World and we're going to play Optimus and you tell me that you're done at 15, I'm gonna kick you to the curb.
I know.
How did that go over at home?
They actually took it not that bad.
Were you like a hothead on the golf course? Were you crazy out there? Or did you not like it?
No. I was just I played from 3 years old to 15. I skip everything, and at 15 I was like, no, I need to do something else. I went back to like school, normal school in Chile.
What were you doing before? Like online?
Like no, same school, but I just didn't go as much. I just played tournaments and all that. And I started doing everything like a normal person, like every sport, played soccer, tennis, everything.
Okay, so then how'd you get back into golf to the point?
And then one day, one friend was like, "Hey, do you want to go play golf?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Just 2 years without touching a club. Okay, let's go. And I shot like 4 under. I said like, okay, like maybe I need to get back to it.
Your friends must have been like, this asshole takes 2 years off of golf and then comes back and shoots 4 on. You shot 4 under your first round back?
Yeah.
So you had that talent and you were just gonna just let it go?
And you know what? I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think
because I grew up a lot of like personal stuff. friends.
Oh, you're glad you took the break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I came back too.
So you came back. Was it hard to like did you still get into tournaments and stuff? Did you lose all your points or like?
Yeah, it was nothing. Like,
yeah.
I had nothing, but I still got to the U.S. Amateur and play events in South America. Then came to the U.S. to play a couple events. And
where'd you play USM?
It was in Atlanta
Athletic Club.
Yeah.
So you played one.
Yeah.
Nice. So you get to Texas Tech. You said.
So then
year.
I played, and Texas Tech was like, "Hey, do you want to come?" And the same friend that invited me to play was already there.
Okay. Oh, the one who. Oh, this guy's like your golf genie. He's a wizard.
So I got there, and I mean, golf program was really good, but the place I didn't really like it.
Lubbock wasn't for you.
No.
Why?
I mean, Chile is like Southern California. And
yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lubbock is.
So
you did yeah, so you were like culture shock, and
yeah.
So you did 1 year, and then what'd you do?
Came back, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna turn pro. But I did the other way, the long way. Started on PGA Tour Latin America, went up to the Corn Ferry, lost my card again to the PGA Tour Latin America, got to the Corn Ferry, won 3 times PGA Tour here.
Was it was it tough when you lost? I mean, I feel like anytime you go backwards, when you lost your card on the Corn Ferry, you have some doubts about, am I going to be able to do this? Should I take another 2 year break?
It's funny because not really. It was like, I mean, I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always had the belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get your
obviously you have the belief, but it's like, okay, I need to really push it.
What changed? Like, what did you have to improve on? Was it a mindset thing? Was it technical?
When I lost my Corn Ferry Tour card, I started working with a mental coach. It's like a neuropsychologist that is not like a normal psychologist. This guy. You train your mind with like sensors and all that, so you really practice.
How did you decide that? Like, how did you get hooked up with that guy?
My coach knew him, so he was like, "Hey, you should go check this guy," and I started working with him, and I mean, I still work with him.
Yeah.
Since 2018.
And then you had a very unique. You got the Battlefield promotion.
Yeah.
Almost no one gets that. So people who don't know, there's a rule on the Corn Ferry Tour, where if you win 3 events in one season, you get automatic promotion.
Yeah.
You just catch fire.
Yeah, I was playing amazing.
It was just like 3. Was it 3 consecutive weeks?
Or
was it like in quick succession?
So it was one that it was like at the beginning of the year, and then there was 2 that were back.
Winning a Corn Ferry event at the beginning of the year has got to be like the best feeling in the world
because I had conditional status too.
On tour?
On Corn Ferry Tour.
Oh wow! So how'd you get into the events?
So I finished 41st instead of 40 on the Q school.
Oh no.
One guy made birdie on 18 to kick us all out.
Do you remember who it was?
No, I don't remember.
Come on, you make up the name?
So I got conditional. I didn't get into Bahamas the first 2.
Yeah.
And then I got to Panama, finished 3rd, and then went to Colombia and won. So I was like, okay.
So you're like, I'm set.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to the PGA Tour next year. So what was that jump like? You go from, and people obviously like that doesn't happen very often. So people started to know who you were pretty quickly.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I mean, I started playing on tour. I remember I missed my first cut. And then the second tournament, I think it was John Deere. I made the cut in the number. So it was like, okay, let's go. And then I finished like 5th. And then I missed the cut, whatever. And then I started the year again. I finished 2nd, I think, or 3rd. So, I mean, I would say it was like really smooth. The transition was like smooth. It wasn't like I'm missing every cut, and then I started playing good,
Did you feel like because when you got your card, there was already, Waco was already out there, was Munoz already out there?
Ortiz
too, like, I always remember you guys, like I remember when Waco won Riviera, all you guys were like on the green, so it almost seemed like you guys were a team even before you were a team.
Yeah, I mean, we were traveling together.
Yeah.
We were staying in houses together,
So this is no different, really.
Well, it's a little different because you're like competing together,
Yeah.
Like it has that factor that, like on the last day you're on the range, it's like, hey, let's go. Before it's like, I mean, good luck at the house, and then just you do your thing,
What is Waco like? What does the captain actually do?
So I don't know, but he has to deal with a lot of things that we don't have to.
With like the league and stuff.
Yeah. But then he's like he makes decisions, but he also lean on us to like make decisions about, I don't know, small things, clothing and all that. He's like always asking, like he makes us part of some decisions.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it.
Yeah. So we got you played in a bunch of major championships. Your ranking was high enough. Now LIV has dropped its world ranking application. I think you're 170 in the world last time I checked, which was like 10 minutes ago. So I think you're 170 in the world right now.
So you don't think so? It is.
So I think that's what you are. You knew it was a possibility.
Yeah.
But you're outside the major picture right now. You just turned 29.
Yeah.
You're in the prime of your career. How are you handling that?
I mean, obviously it sucks to not be able to get into the majors. Obviously, I'm gonna try the
U.S. Open.
Yeah, the U.S. Open and maybe the British Open. I'm expecting our first child by that.
Congratulations.
Date, so, yeah. But yeah, I would love to keep playing in majors.
Yeah.
I would love to. I mean, I know LIV is not going for the world ranking points anymore, but I think we were not gonna get a lot of points.
I think they should just top whatever on the money list.
Yeah.
Top 10 on the money list or whatever it is at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or if you win like maybe 2, and I don't know what it is, but there's different ways.
And I think it's a better way to do it that way than world rankings already because everybody's low. So
yeah.
Well,
now it's past the point of like even if they gave you points,
exactly.
it wouldn't make up. Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. Like, do they keep you posted on like? Because I'm sure that they're trying and they're
I'm sure
talking
they're trying
to them.
And sometimes we talk about it, and I mean I think they just deliver whatever they know.
Yeah. You played a Masters though.
Yeah, last year.
Because of your finish at
this year? No, I'm not playing.
No, you played last year.
Last year, yeah.
What was that experience like?
That place is amazing.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe it actually.
How'd you play?
I played, I don't know, I finished like 40th. I played pretty decent, didn't putt very well, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
I went with Juaco actually like 2 months before the Masters. We went with Juaco and Abraham to practice for 2 days. It's incredible.
Special times.
Yeah. Once you get there and you see all the slopes and everything is perfect.
Well, what was your first Masters tee shot like?
First tee shot, fuck, I don't remember.
You can't remember?
No.
So you're like a goldfish. You just go to the next.
I don't know. I don't even know if I started on 1 or 10.
And then no one starts on 10.
Yeah, I think last year because of the rain.
They do it. I mean, maybe like one round, but they don't.
I'm pretty sure I started on 10 one day.
You think you started on 10 one day?
Yeah, but maybe not the first one, huh?
Yeah, probably not. I feel like they're pretty traditional and they go with that.
So,
did you see Justin Thomas's thing in the Netflix show?
Which one?
You know what I'm talking about. He's giving a cheers at the PGA Champions dinner, and he says cheers to Mito Pereira.
I knew you were coming up with this.
This is what just all in good fun.
I don't know.
I'm asking, how did you take it?
Well, I mean, it was not very fun for me, and I don't think for anybody. I've seen Instagram, and he's not getting a lot of love about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not really close to him, so it's not like I'm gonna go talk to him.
Doesn't
right
change
now.
anything.
No, I mean, it hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just take it more as an adult and just not really go at him and say something.
Did you grow from that experience? Do you feel like when you look back
obviously it gives you a little bit of fire, like, fuck, I really want to, like, if that happens again, I really would like to be in that position again to beat him.
Yeah. No, I mean, not just that, but I'm saying, like, the whole experience of that tournament and the way it finished, like,
oh, okay.
How do you think that because you were in the Netflix show the first season.
Yeah.
And I thought you came off great, and I thought that, they handled it really, really well. How was that experience for you? How did you feel like the show portrayed you, and how do you feel like you handled that, like, when you look back on the whole week?
So I think the show was really good.
Yeah.
It turned out to be really good, and I had a lot of good feedback about my part of the show. And then obviously that week, I mean, I played really good golf for, 71 holes. Just one really bad shot at an 18. But, I mean, I think looking back, it was like, I'm fortunate to be in that position. And I know if I'm in that position again, I'm gonna get it.
You're gonna do something different. Yeah. So
a couple guys came up to me afterwards, like, "Hey man, I shot 80 the last round of a major. Whatever you? Hey man, I fucked it up. I made triple in the last hole too." So it's not only me.
No. No, it's not only you at all.
Obviously, sometimes you take it personal. It's like how that happens to me, but then you look back and it's like hundreds of guys that have done it.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
A guy on the last hole. It's hard to get into the house. What are you working on? What do you feel like you need to improve to get back to that standard, or to even progress past where you were when you were playing your best?
I wouldn't say it's like one particular thing to like, hey, I need to really get my driver straight. It's just you get momentums, like you need to be in a good mental state of like really push yourself or like trust yourself, and you keep going even though if you start playing bad, like you're building yourself to be in that position, or to be every week to try to be in your best position. Golf is not like you play good every day. And I think at the end of last year, I was getting a little bit of like bad attitude, like I'm not winning. And the beginning of this year, I started playing like bad, and it was like, okay, I need to man up and really change my attitude, how I get into golf and how I want it to be going forward.
When you get bad attitude on the golf course, are you negative toward yourself? Are you moving
I think
too
negative
quickly?
toward myself. Yeah, like saying how you can't hit that shot. That's so bad. Like you're bad.
Yeah.
But then those things add up. You don't really know it, but you're talking to yourself.
Your caddy, if I'm not mistaken, used to work for Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you gotta keep up.
yeah.
Scotty, he's looking over at Scotty. How did you get hooked up with him, and does he help you kind of when you're starting to get negative? Will he step in?
So I had an Argentinian caddy that caddy for me on the Corn Ferry. I won with him 3 times. Really good guy. We went to the PGA Tour. We had some good results, but it was starting to I was not trusting him, and on the course I was like having a little bit of issues. Nothing big, but just I needed something new. And I think my agent at that time told me like, hey, I have a couple options for you to like choose, and just Scotty came up and we started working in Valero, I think, and we did pretty good, and we're still going strong.
And he helps. Does he? I know obviously big part of being a caddy is the numbers and the win, but will he step in and say like, let's go, you're okay, like?
Yeah, I think more than that, he's really flat,
even keeled.
Like even when we were leading at PGA, he was like,
yeah, God, I remember that. There were so many people there that day.
Oh, so bad.
That tournament felt.
I mean, my wife told me like I couldn't see anything. She couldn't see anything.
Yeah, because I feel like they don't let the wives like inside the ropes.
No.
They do that here.
Yeah.
She can see you when you play LIV golf. So yeah, any courses or any events that you're like most looking forward to this year?
I think everybody liked Australia.
Yeah.
Spain.
Are you a golf course guy? Were you like, architecture, like will you
Not really.
Not really.
Not really, no.
So, yeah,
It's just
make birdies.
I mean,
on it.
yeah, if the golf course is nice, but not really. Just try to look. No, I don't look at it. But Australia really good. Spain course is really great, and just the place there and to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
it's great.
You probably speak Spanish a lot though because of all the guys on your team.
Yeah.
Does your caddy speak any Spanish?
No, he's doing Duolingo, but
So that's what I was saying to Neiman's caddy. I was like, you're caddying for Torque. You got to at least try.
yeah, but I don't think they're gonna get it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's great. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
We'll keep tabs on you this year, and thanks for hopping on.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
It was good.